Hi, my name is Tatiana, and my channel is created by Lady T. And in this channel, I talk about quilting, crochet, and sewing, and I give product reviews. So if you're interested in this type of content, please follow me on my channel, created by Lady T. In today's video, I am going to be talking about the number 18 reason to get a Bernina. And the number 18 reason is this little foot. It is a quilting foot. It's the 29 quilting foot. It is not very well talked about, so I want to talk about it. If you can see, it's a see-through foot, and it will give you a lot of leverage when you are doing quilting. So I have a wonderful panel fabric. It's after Easter, but it's an Easter one, and I want to give it as a late Easter gift for a friend. And it's because it's a panel fabric, I don't have to put any blocks together. I am just going to put the panel fabric, the binding and the backing, and then the panel fabric, the batting and the backing, and then bind it up. And then just give it as a gift. It's really quick when you have a panel fabric, and I'll show you that in a minute. But because it's going to go so quickly, I didn't want it to be plain. So that's why I'm going to be using this quilting foot to create a design. Now, I am not the best quilter in the world with freeform quilting. This is freeform quilting. I am not the best. I play around very well, but it's an art that I'm still working on. However, what I am going to do is I'm going to use a thread that's almost invisible to the fabric, so that if I make mistakes, because it's really hard to do curves with freeform quilting, because if I make a few mistakes, it won't be as recognizable. And my pattern has bunnies on it, and I'm going to go around the bunnies and make some little circles. So making the circles is what's really hard with freeform quilting for me. And I'm going to practice with this as well, but it still comes out good. I mean, what I want to say is that even with mistakes, it still looks pretty acceptable and pretty good. So come with me and join me. I'll show you the fabric, and I'll show you everything, and then we'll get started with using this freeform quilting foot. And this is the number 18 reason to get a Bernina. Okay, so on my B790 Plus, I have my 29C foot, and I put it on the zigzag stitch, but I also tried the other stitches, and I'm going to show you in a minute. Now I have my feed dogs down because this is still free motion quilting, and here's a practice piece that I just kind of played around with, and I went in curvy little places, but I actually like this zigzag stitch. And that was my original stitch right here. So I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it with for my fabric. I'm going to try to match up the thread color to the fabric, but I do want it to be pronounced and to be seen, because this is kind of pretty. And so there's other stitches that this accommodates, this foot accommodates, which is kind of cool, like the stitch over here. Okay, so I did the stitch 2, which is the zigzag. I did the stitch 3. I did the stitch 4, and I did stitch 7 and 9. So I have, and I did 12, this one. And so this really pretty one over here is the stitch 12. Now, as you move it, it kind of elongates the stitch. And I'm thinking maybe this might be the best one, but I'm not sure. I'm going to play a little bit more and see what works best. But this is the 29C foot. this, there's 2 feet for the 29 foot. There's a 29 period and a 29C. So the 29C goes with a 9mm stitch plate. So this is a 9mm stitch plate. So I have it on my 9mm, and I also have my feed dogs down because, again, this is free motion quilting. Really interesting foot here. I'm going to really enjoy working with this foot. So if I go back here on my choices for 29, you see there's the 29 regular foot. This is for a 5mm machine. So it would work for, like, I think a 300, a 400 maybe. I'm not sure what models it would work for, but whatever has a 5mm stitch plate. This is a stitch plate. So my B790 Plus is a 9mm stitch plate. I'm sorry, I'm not very good with math. Anyways, so the 29C is for the 9mm stitch plate. I'm really enjoying this foot. Now we're going to practice with our actual fabric. All right, so here's the panel fabric that I'm going to be making a small quilt, a lap quilt with, and it's got a bunch of bunnies. Now, the front part has this green that I really like, and what I did is I got this green thread, and I'm going to use that to do the sewing with the top thread. Now, the bottom layer is this color, so I got the bobbin thread to be this color. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make lines around here like this with all the squares to quilt it. And I'm just going to use the green thread to do that. And then I'm going to probably use a lighter color thread to go around these boxes, but I'm not going to use the 29C foot. I'll probably just use a regular stitch for that and go from there. But I think I don't want to touch the actual panels, so I'm going to go around. Now I've set up my machine, and what I've done with my machine with the 29C foot is I picked this zigzag stitch, which is number 2, and I put the stitch length at 2.65 and 2.5. I'm hoping this is going to be okay. So this looks like it's going to look really pretty. I don't want it to be over the top. I just want it to be subtle. So that's why I'm doing this foot. All right, so I used the 29 foot to outline these bunnies, and it looks really cute. I wanted it to be subtle. It's not as subtle, and I did make some mistakes along the way. But from far away, you don't really see a lot of the mistakes, but the bunnies are outlined. I am going to still stay with the 29 foot, but I'm going to use the serpentine foot to go down this way and then to go that way, and quilt it using the serpentine foot, and see how that goes. Yeah. So I started doing the serpentine stitch, and I'll show a little bit better here. Works really great because you could take a lot longer of a serpentine stitch with this. I just left it on 40 stitch length, and I took really long areas here because I had the feed dogs down, so I was able to get a really nice big serpentine stitch for a quilt and just go over everything like this, and it just looked really nice. So here's the serpentine stitch in the quilt, and it just blends right in. And that's all the quilting I'm gonna do. What I'm gonna do now is cut the sides and then bind it, and then I'll be done with this quilt. So I did make it a little straighter. Using the serpentine stitch with the 29C foot made it go faster and easier. So I would then, if I just use the serpentine stitch with a number 20 foot, this made it much easier to use. Now I could have probably even used my BSR with this, but at least I got to see what I'm doing, and I really liked it. Seeing I used the zigzag stitch to outline these bunnies. This is what it looks like when I cut the ends. So I love my 29 foot. It did a really good job helping me quilt this panel blanket. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the binding and bind this, and then I'm done. And this is what the back looks like. I'll do a full view of it. So I'm going to bind it from front to back, and I have to figure out how I'm going to do the thread. I think I'm going to use green thread mixed with this color thread. So I have to figure out what I'm going to do. But I have a really nice green binding for this. All right, so I ended up finding this binding that really matched the quilt colors, and I thought that the green would be too outlandish. So I ended up using this binding, and it just kind of blends in with the quilt, and it gives the bunnies and the highlights of the bunnies a better focus. So I like that for that reason. So here we go, and this is the quilt. Okay, so I hope you like this video. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you like this kind of content created by Lady T. If you found this to be an interesting video, please leave some comments. I'd like to hear what you're thinking. And again, this is the number 29 foot, the number 18 reason to get a Bernina out of my 101 reasons for getting a Bernina sewing machine. And this is reason number 18. So please let me know what you guys think. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, created by Lady T. I'd love to hear from you. Have a good day. Bye.